Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. I'm your host Harpreet Singh from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. In today's program, we'll be talking about how important is the value of education, and especially during these uncertain times, what needs to be done. BC-IBN, British Columbia India Business Network, has taken an initiative, and on May the 6th, they are organizing a one-day education summit. What is this all about, and what can the people learn from this? Let's get over to Mr. Vivek Savkur, the founder of BC-IBN and also the President Emeritus of this organization. Mr. Vivek, good evening. How are you?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Good evening to you, Harpreet. It's always a pleasure to be with you on your show.
Thank you very much. Uncertain times and things demand uncertainty. We need some certainty in this kind of period. And when it comes to education, what we are finding right now is that from India, a lot of international students are coming over to Canada for studies. What is the situation right now?
Well, the situation is improving, I can say that. But the problem is that there were two setbacks. The one setback was, of course, the pandemic, which created havoc all over the world. And for students everywhere in the world, they had a problem. Not just Canada, India, but everywhere they had a major problem. And the other is now what is happening in the Ukraine area. That has been very sad. There also the students have suffered. And many of our Canadian institutions have been magnanimous to invite them across and help them out with their difficulties, because they have been stranded halfway, being neither here nor there where their studies and education is concerned. So we are taking care of them. All depends, of course, on the immigration people and how soon they process their visas and send them across. But there are quite a few institutions who are helping them out. It's really a major tragedy, a very difficult times. The situation is so difficult that they have spent lakhs of rupees, and it's almost going down the drain. I don't know how many of them will lose, how many of them will recover, how many of them will be able to come and pursue their education further. If the war ends, then perhaps they might be able to go back, but not immediately. It will still take a year or two by the time things will improve and they can make it back. So there are lots of problems which are being faced. The other thing is that there's so much of pressure on the immigration people. There are queues and a lot of backlog to be dealt with. That is creating a major problem for every student who wants to come here. There's no shortage of students. There are plenty, thousands of students who want to come here. Now things are getting, well, more and more students want to come to Canada. Canada is the first choice because people would prefer to come to Canada. There's multiculturalism. There's no racial discrimination. No, you can use religion is not an issue. People are so good. Everything is so good. The quality and standard of education is so high. Of course, maybe a little expensive, but it's worth it. At least they are safe. In other countries, I don't want to name the countries, the students are not safe. There's a lot of racism and a lot of Indian students are being attacked, and they don't feel comfortable at all. They're more worried about themselves rather than studying, So that becomes a major problem. In fact, Canada gives them opportunity to settle down here after they graduate, which many other countries do not permit. That's a major advantage. And we in Canada need a lot of educated labor force. We are running short of labor like nobody's business. And I think the quota for getting students across has been increased tremendously. So it's easier for Indian students to come across here and do well in life. Yeah, that's the objective. Not only they do well in life, Canada also does well in the bargain.
Right.
Because we need a lot of skilled people, unskilled people. We need all different kinds of labor and engineers for our infrastructure industries.
That's very true, Mr. Savkur, what you have pointed out, that Canada is one of the best countries where youngsters can come and have a good future. But along with that, there are many challenges that are being faced by the youngsters when they come over here. And as far as education is concerned, BC-IBN, which stands for British Columbia India Business Network, has been always espousing for promotion of business between British Columbia and India. So now when you are talking about that this is a good place for youngsters to come, but along with that they are facing a lot of challenges. they can just work legally 20 hours, but we know, of course, how they survive over here. Inflation, cost of living has gone very high and of course, the fees that they have to pay is also quite high. So all this having a burden on the youngsters also, and we are finding out a lot of suicides, a lot of mental health challenges are coming forward. So keeping this in mind, what do you feel what the government should do on this particular aspect?
Well, the most important thing is the cost of education. The cost of education here is very high. People cannot afford, especially Indian students who come here. All are not from affluent families. They come from middle class, lower middle class, and not so good economically backward communities. They find it hard to maintain themselves here. The government, I don't know to what extent the government can help and how much of subsidies they can give, but many of them get scholarships and they are comfortable. There are some institutions which ensure, depending on what, for example, if you take nursing, then there are some institutions which, after 1 year of studies, they get you internship with a good amount of money, by which they can afford to sustain themselves in Canada. If all the other institutions could do something like this, I think the most of the problems would be eliminated. Preference to be given to students who come from abroad, because they are spending the fees that they pay are almost double of what the
No,
local
three
students
times more
pay.
virtually, yeah.
Yeah. Apart from that, if a student comes here and sends money, he has to pay a lot of taxes in India. The burden of taxation is also very high. They borrow money from local money lenders, etc., mortgage their homes, do all kinds of things. And if they cannot repay back, then they are in a bad situation. And then suicides take place and all kinds of social issues surface, which is difficult for the government or anyone else to solve it, because it's a personal matter, right? So it becomes
Right.
difficult. Okay. So actually, the government should set up an investigation and see how best they can help,
Right.
uh, through the government themselves or through communities
Right. And
and
is
through the institutions.
BC-IBN taking upon itself this task of bringing this forward to the government, that they need to intervene and they need to start coming out with some kind of help for these students?
We bring this to the notice of the government through our various webinars and programs that we have on a very regular basis, and highlighting the problems faced by the students and problems faced by the universities in tackling the student situation. We
Right.
bring it to the forefront. Now, at the Education Summit on Friday, this Friday, we'll be highlighting all these issues.
Right.
There will
So,
be
Mr. Savkur, we'll talk in details about this education summit which you're organizing on this coming Friday, May the 6th. It's time for a break. Let's go for a break. We'll be shortly back and we'll continue with the discussion and learn more from you.
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ, ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
ਹਰ ਰੰਗ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ, ਹਰ ਮਾਡਲ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਡਾ ਕਰਮ ਹੈ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾਉਣਾ, ਸਫ਼ਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਖਾ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਬਸੰਤ ਮੋਟਰਸ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਕੇ।
है जुल्म ढाने का अंदाज भी कितना हंसी, हमारी जान पर बनाई है जब जब उसने अंगड़ाई ली। कभी खामोश रहते हैं, कभी शोर होता है। मोहब्बत में शरारत का मजा कुछ और होता है। दिल को जज्बात का तोहफा, खामोशियों को बात का तोहफा, खूबसूरती में जड़ी नजाकत अदाओं की चांद से मुखड़े को चांद सा तोहफा।
भारत ज्वेलर्स, सच्चे प्यार की चमक जैसा। पायल बिजनेस सेंटर, सरी।
Once again, welcome back to the program. This program is being brought to you with the support of AMC Insurance. If you're looking for home, auto, travel, business, life, or recreational insurance, they have 9 branches in the Lower Mainland to serve you, and they're open 7 days a week from 8:30 a.m. onwards till 9 p.m. For more information, call 604-507-6666. Our next sponsor is Agnihotri Immigration Consulting. If you want to know about temporary status, you are new to Canada, you want to come to Canada, you are a PR, You want to know about citizenship process, hire foreign workers, express entry, or you want to sponsor parents or grandparents. You can be helped by Neera Agnihotri, who has been working as a certified immigration consultant since 2006. For more information, call 604-597-2284. Our guest today is Vivek Savkur, President Emeritus from BC-IBN, and we are talking about, in these uncertain times, what kind of help needs to be given to the students who are coming over here for studies. And along with that, the universities who are enrolling them, the colleges which are mushrooming, are enrolling them. What are their challenges and how the government can come forward and provide support? So in this regard, an education summit is being organized on May the 6th in Surrey, which we'll talk about in details. But before that, let's get over to Mr. Vivek Savkur and continue with the discussion. So Mr. Savkur, as you were mentioning, the kind of challenges that the youngsters are facing, but the universities and the colleges also who are enrolling these students, you are in constant interaction with them. What kind of challenges are they facing?
The universities, you mean?
Yeah.
The universities face the challenge of selecting the right kind of candidates for admission. They have to ensure that they are coming here for serious studies and benefiting themselves as benefiting the society as well as benefiting the country, Canada. Very few students go back. Most of them settle down here. Anyone coming to Canada does not want to go back at all. So that's the main reason for them to come here. And I think they feel that they'll be more secure and more happier here because there are lots of opportunities. If you study well, you do well, you select the right subjects, and you graduate from the right university, you get good jobs, and you'll have a good, bright future in Canada. That's the reason why you want to come. The universities have to be very careful in selecting the students so as to avoid or minimize the social problems faced by these people. There's so much of problems, drug addiction, alcohol, and other nefarious activities which they get pulled into because of earning of money. They're in need of money. There's always a shortage of money. Life here is so very expensive compared to India. It may not be that expensive here itself per se, but compared with India, it's very expensive, right?
Absolutely.
If you go compare to, it's very, very difficult to sustain, and for a middle class family to keep on sending that thousands of rupees in terms of dollars every month is a big issue, problem. The rents are so expensive. They have to travel, commute, stay, eat. It's a struggle. It's a major struggle. So the university, starting with the immigration, and then the universities have to ensure that the student will be comfortable there, whoever comes here. Maybe in case of a very brilliant student, and there are so many in India who want to come here, they can always give handsome scholarships, which will help them or subsidize them to meet with these challenges and to live a comfortable life and study well.
But here comes the middlemen, that is the consultants in India or here, who are projecting that anybody can come here for studies, and even we are finding out students who are coming over here just for normal courses, and after that they are just left in the lurch. They don't know what to do, and according to the system, as I said, they can only work for 20 hours legally, and then they do on cash, and otherwise also they work, and that has a further strain on them. And apart from that, what we've been told is that majority of them have to clear a test, and then only they can get the work permit, and then they can stay over. So it's a long process, but this all is not told. So now, because the universities are interested in getting the students, so as you said, the quality of students probably is put to the background. So on this aspect also, BC-IBN, as you have been always espousing for better businesses between both the British Columbia and India. So on this particular aspect, do you feel that something needs to be done so that we, as you said, can get better quality students? And if students come over here, they get settled down and they don't have to go through all those challenges.
Actually, the process cannot be eliminated. The process is a long drawn process because it's not just the immigration which is involved, it's also the university which is involved. And the process turns into a struggle when they finally land here. And regarding these consultants and specialists and all that, it's all a business. There are many in the racket. I would call it a racket. There's students coming here, Many don't study, they drop off somewhere and they get lost in the countryside somewhere. And, all these tricks take place. It's bad. It's bad for the society. It's bad for the person himself.
Right.
And very often the college or institution also gets a bad name
Yeah.
in the process.
Okay. How did you get the idea of organizing this education summit? Because it's the first time that at such a big level this kind of summit is being organized.
Actually, this is the second time. We had one about 3 years ago before the pandemic,
Right.
which was extremely successful, very successful. And during the pandemic time, we had about 3 or 4 major webinars with presidents and chancellors even from India participating in it. And most of them, many of them were only for women, lady chancellors and presidents from India and from here. So we had very interesting programs discussing all these issues and problems faced by universities as well as by the immigration as well as by the students themselves, and the various challenges that have to be looked into very seriously. So, but that's the government's job, mainly the government's job, because they have placed so many restrictions on working hours, etc. If they could perhaps enhance the number of working hours and give them some relief, that would help a lot.
Oh, yes.
Now, we have taken up this matter with the government. We discussed this in webinars and then tried to talk to some people. But the government is a different kettle of fish altogether. Very difficult to convince them. They're already decided. Their mind is made up.
Right.
And to get them to change, this is not so easy. It's a long-run process. Our main job as BC-IBN is to have a network of people, to bring people together. And we have very successfully tied up so many Indian institutions, universities and colleges from India with institutions here in BC. Many of them. It's an ongoing process. And we ensure that the students who come here would be, we advise the colleges in India what kind of students to send, and to ensure that everybody who comes here has a good education and a good life, a reasonable life, a reasonable life, without getting into any. And I've seen that majority of the students now are so happy. They are persevering. They know that their parents have spent a lot of money. They work very hard, study hard, and they come out with flying colors. Right? They are doing so well. There are so many hundreds of students who are doing well. Do not look at these students who are only, exceptional cases which go sour and bad.
Right.
But generally, it's a success story.
Well, absolutely. If they're getting the right direction and they go into the right institution, definitely, and they are becoming successful. And we have hundreds of such cases where these students have got good jobs and they're doing great. We'll go for a short break, Mr. Savkur, and in the last segment, would like to know a little bit more about this education summit. Where is it happening? Who all can participate? And what all can we expect from this education summit? So we'll be shortly back and we'll continue with the discussion.
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ, ਅਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
ਵੈਨਕਾਸਾ ਟਾਈਲ ਅਤੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਟਾਈਲਸ, ਸਟੋਨ, ਮਾਰਬਲ, ਬੈਕਸਪਲੈਸ਼, ਮੋਜ਼ੇਕ ਆਦਿ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਟਾਲੀਅਨ, ਸਪੈਨਿਸ਼, ਚਾਈਨੀਜ਼, ਪੋਰਸਲਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਰੈਮਿਕ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਜਾਂ ਮਾਰਬਲ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਆਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਲੀਅਰੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮਾਲਕ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਇੰਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ 13042 84 ਐਵਨਿਊ ਸਰੀ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604 330 7363 604 330 7363। Once again, welcome back to the program. Let's get over to Mr. Vivek Savkur and continue with the discussion and learn more about this Education Summit, because the theme is this year, Education in Uncertain Times. So, Mr. Savkur, this conference is being organized on May the 6th. Where is it being organized, and what all can we expect from this conference?
For the very first time, we have organized an event in Surrey itself, because there are so many educational institutions here. And we thought that we should keep on changing venues from city to city. That's we used to have it downtown usually, but this time we have it in Surrey at the Riverside Banquet Hall. It's a beautiful hall and good facilities. There'll be exactly 10 main speakers or panelists, as you call them, who are presidents, vice presidents and deans of various colleges and institutions from here as well as from on the island, will be participating and discussing the problems faced by them and how to get rid of these and what suggestions to make. Maybe we can, after the conference, send a short report to the government, to the Ministry of Education, with a few recommendations for them to have a look. If they want to change and make things better, it's up to them. But we will try to see what best we could do, a little bit of advocacy to ensure things happen properly. So we are selling tickets for this show, which is just very minimal, $50 a ticket, including lunch and tea and all that, which is attracting a lot of students. We want students to come and also listen to this conversation because it pertains mainly to them, of course, also to the colleges. The colleges and the students are both victims of a lot of problems. So it's a good forum to be on.
So what time does it start and what time does it end?
It starts at 12:30 with lunch. 12:30 to 1:30 is lunch. At 1:40 we start with the seminar, and it will get over at about 4:30 or so, followed by some tea, intermingling and networking.
Right. So Mr. Savkur, as you said, 10 major speakers are speaking in this conference. So the focus is just on international students or on education in Canada as such?
On everything, on total education in totality, various, including students and problems faced by students, by university, by the province, by the country, etc., by the other countries, the immigration issue. A myriad of problems will be discussed and many points will be highlighted to ensure that things move smoothly in future, and what best we could do to alleviate the problems faced by everybody concerned.
And as you have pointed out, that after that, a summary of this conference will be presented to the government so that the recommendations which the experts feel need to be worked on is handed over so that the government can look into it, and then whatever they decide on that, of course, that depends upon them.
That's the intention. We'll see how quickly the government moves on that.
Right.
Because all the prominent universities are participating in this.
Right. Okay.
It'll be a good show, and we would like everyone to come as far as possible, and that'll be a good show for them to know more about students, what's going on.
Right. So, as you've also mentioned, there's a small ticket to this. Where can people go and get this ticket from?
You can get it online on www.BC-IBN.com. They can buy it online.
Okay.
Or they can come to the website.
Right.
Day of the event, they can buy a ticket there on site.
Okay.
We welcome everybody. Welcome students, professors, anybody who would like to come.
Right.
Because it's going to be sharing of knowledge, very important knowledge, which will be imparted to everybody.
Well, this is a need of the time, because right now there are many challenges, issues, successes which need to be shared so that the youngsters can take knowledge which is being imparted to them and then implement that into their daily lifestyle, because there are many issues which are still unresolved and they're not still discussed, and hopefully, as you have mentioned, they will be talked about in this conference, and youngsters especially can take advantage of the wisdom. While I have about 3-4 minutes, pardon me?
The idea is to make these students who come here very comfortable
Right.
and be successful in life and have a
Absolutely.
good opinion of Canada, spread the word around.
Mhm.
Canada has a very good reputation, I think among the best in the world today. And but the students have to be happy and they have to be successful. That's
Very
very
true.
important.
Mr. Savkur, while we have talked enough about education, and this is a great initiative that has been launched by BC-IBN, and of course, your forte is on improving business between BC and India. Anything from that front, what is being done? And as now the pandemic is virtually over, what are your future plans?
Now, the BC-IBN, that is BC India Business Network, has undergone a major change. I'm no longer the president, and we have my worthy successor is Ms. Shobna Jaya Madhavan, who's vice president in the Simon Fraser University. She's very, very progressive. She's very good, and I'm sure that BC-IBN will progress under her leadership. I've taken the role of president emeritus, where I'll be guiding and advising and not looking into day-to-day affairs, but policy matters, advocacy, and networking, etc., between BC and India. That's the role I'm going to play in future. And the whole board has undergone a change with ethical, professional, dedicated team of board members who will take this BC-IBN to a new level.
Excellent. Well, your wisdom is much more needed because as the founder of this organization, you have brought it to such a level where definitely people who are coming forward and taking the baton from you will be successful. So congratulations for this role now of just guiding and providing your expertise. Mr. Vivek Savkur, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much and best wishes for this conference.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and you are cordially invited to attend. I hope you can attend with your two sons.
See you on the 6th. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਨ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਸਵਕੂਰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੱਸੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਮਿਟ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਈ 6 ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਇਹ ਸਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਰਿਵਰਸਾਈਡ ਬੈਂਕਟ ਹਾਲ ਜੋ ਕਿ 130 ਤੇ 76 130th and 76 ਤੇ ਹੈ ਇਹ 12 ਵਜੇ ਔਨਵਰਡਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਾ ਸੱਦਾ ਹੈ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੰਗਸਟਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਇਹ ਜੋ ਐਕਸਪਰਟਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਫੀਲਡ 'ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ BC-IBN ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਨੈਟਵਰਕ ਦਾ ਮਾਧਿਅਮ ਬਣਿਆ ਜਿਸ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਬੈਟਰ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਬਿਟਵੀਨ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਹਿਮ ਰੋਲ ਪਲੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਪੱਖ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਕੰਪਾਈਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੱਕ ਭੇਜਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੈਕਿਊਨੇਜ਼ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮਸ ਨੇ ਚੈਲੰਜਸ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਪਾਏ ਸੋ ਡੋਂਟ ਫੋਰਗੇਟ May the 6th at Riverside Banquet Hall in Surrey. You are most welcome to be a part of this education summit, and especially the youngsters are welcome so that they can come forward and learn from the wisdom of all these educationists. Once again, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time to be a part of this program. Thoda mera saath hoya karda hai Monday to Friday shaam de 6 baje Pacific Standard Time de mutabik. If you also want to be a part of this program, you can contact me at 604-603-7555 or you can email me at harpreetsingh@gmail.com. ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਫਿਰ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਹੈਵ ਅ ਸੇਫ ਈਵਨਿੰਗ ਸਟੇ ਹੈਲਦੀ ਐਂਡ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਯੋਰਸੈਲਫ